Now, given all that you had to deal with over the last 4 years, would you do it all over again?
About sailing and ropes.
So where are we and what's happening today?
So this is the 4th anniversary. 4 years ago today, we went into Land Back Lane, and today is just a little day to commemorate that. Some good friends, good family, good food, and of course some of the 6 days best entertainment as always.
So last time, it's probably been a year, maybe 2, since we last talked.
A couple years, yeah. It's been a couple years.
The last time we talked, you were still facing criminal and civil action.
Yeah.
What's happening with that?
So all of those things are still kind of rolling through the courts as far as my criminal stuff goes, and lots of ours. We had it go to
Ontario Court of Appeals?
Ontario Court of Appeals just recently, and so we are still awaiting a decision there. But I don't know, I guess the decision part of it is the difference between whether or not we get criminal records or not, as opposed to before where we were talking about years in jail and all the like. And so none of that is kind of on the table anymore, and so we're moving towards a direction that's just deciding whether or not we get a criminal record.
We were talking about, and if you can't talk about this, I understand. Earlier we were talking about the possible precedent, a ruling from the unceded.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's some weird roll of the dice decision making that Ontario did there around pushing forward with an appeal. I think the Ontario Court of Appeal makes some precedent there, and so it would be hard pressed, I think, for the Ontario Court of Appeal to not overturn that decision. And so but again, we're talking about whether or not we get criminal records or not, and so most of us have been doing this most of our lives, and so
it's nothing.
A criminal record isn't going to make the difference for us. So we're very pleased with the outcome. That none of our people have had to spend more than a few days in jail at worst.
Okay, excellent. And what's been happening at the Land Back Lane?
You know what? We still got some of our folks living there. We still got half a dozen homes that are being lived in. It's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing that even after this amount of time, this is Ganestado that we're at right now.
What's the significance of this place?
Ganestado, come on, this is some hallowed ground right here. This is almost 20 years for this place, and so I've spilt blood on this ground here, and
the province didn't learn its lesson 20 years ago, eh?
They didn't. Mind you, I spent a lot more time in jail last time.
Yeah.
I spent 7 months in jail last time, and I didn't have to spend near as much this time. So that's a good thing. Progress, we're making progress. We still got beat up and shot at and all that stuff, but nobody had to go to jail for it.
I think it's reasonable to expect that something like this will happen again as the cities, the different municipalities in this local area want to expand and create these little subdivisions. This is likely to happen again, meaning they're going to encroach on the 6. Are you going to, is this an issue that we're going to have again? Is this a fight that we might see again?
Greed is something that's pretty, you don't have to have a crystal ball.
Yes, yeah.
To know that greed is still going to exist in this world. And when we talk about it in the type of devastation that greed will leave on these lands, when you cover everything in asphalt, look at Toronto, just a few days ago is underwater because water's got nowhere to go.
Yeah.
And so for our people, we don't want to kick anybody out or send anybody back on any boats that you guys got from, but what we want is just to be able to have a place for my kids to be able to grow, right? And this is all we're looking for.
The addition to the reservation process is still...
The Additions to Reserve Act is a ridiculous process, and I don't know why anybody even brings it up, because it's never worked for anybody. It never has worked. It's worked in such a bureaucratic nightmare of a situation that you have to get approvals from there's no politician in the world that's going to vote to have their tax base shrink. It's just the way it is.
So in the last...
Not if they want to get elected next year,
Yeah.
anyway.
In the last, let's say 20, 30 years, all the communities have grown in this area. Has the 6 grown at the same speed that the local communities
In
have?
terms of population, yes. We're one of the few communities that are still have a booming population. And so, yes, our people are still having lots of kids, and so our community needs to be able to expand. But when our communities are faced off reserve, away from families and away from accountabilities, this is where all of the traumas that come from our folks living in cities away from their families and their people, like we're family people.
Mm-hmm. And you guys like to be close.
Sure we do.
Yeah, you don't just parachute into other places. You stay close.
It happens, but not very often,
Yeah.
you know?
Now, given all that you had to deal with over the last 4 years, would you do it all over again?
There's a couple things I'd change here and there, but I'd do it all over again and again and again. Yeah.
I love that answer.
Yeah.
We are done. Thank you, my friend.
There's something to know.
Can I just get a...
Hello, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Awesome.
Skyler
Okay.
Williams, SKYLER, WILLIMS.
This isn't CHCH. We do our research. I'm going to have to make sure I cut that part out.
Then you'll know the horizon is quickly approaching.